Welcome to the Hoof and Fang podcast. I'm Kirt Graves.
And I'm Maz Maddox.
And welcome to another week in the life of two people who don't have time for this.
That should be the subtitle, right. I think, of this podcast at this point. How are we carving out time for this every week?
I don't know. I genuinely don't know. Yeah. But here we are. Mm-hmm. And we usually have a good time.
Oh, yeah. I always come out of this like laughing and having a great time. So we like our energy is always like, oh, this is so frustrating and like stressful, but also I'm going to laugh for like 30 minutes.
Right. So yeah. That's it.
That's it. That's great. The episode.
No, how's life and how's work?
Life is good. Work is crazy. We talked about this on our other podcast that we just started because why not add to it?
Right.
But I've been in the process of doing a job interview, and the second one was Monday, and that was hopefully good. Feel good about it, but I'm also in this weird thing. I'm like waiting for the answer to that, but also ramping up for peak and holiday season at the job I currently have. So it's very crazy. And I'm also like training up a new person. So it's weird. And there's like this little tiny bit of guilt that we're talking about weeks that I may or may not even be involved in, depending on like what happens this week. So yeah, it's nuts. It's a little crazy.
Do you know for sure that you'll find out this week?
I am optimistic I will. So I don't know for sure, but when I talked to my recruiter person yesterday, she was like, I have a meeting with them today at 3, like Tuesday. So you should hear something soon. And I was like,
at least some update.
Yeah, something. Update. Yeah, exactly. So yeah.
Okay.
We'll see. Yeah, no. It's weird.
Today at 3 is now.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's happening real time right now. So yeah, I don't know. It's weird. It's like my brain is all over the place. But I did during my lunch break today, I went through and read Lost in Amber, like the chapters that have Ruben and Jang and stuff, because I couldn't remember their interactions very well because that was books ago. And like as I'm rereading it, it's kind of like reigniting that spark to work on their story again. Because I was like, oh, I forgot how cute they were together. So that was kind of fun. Like feeling that little like, okay, yeah, I can probably sit down and start writing this now. Yeah. Even within all the chaos that's going on, it's nice to feel that again.
Right.
So
that little creative spark.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that was nice. That was I think the little push I needed to maybe tomorrow get back into the seat and like start working on chapter 1. Cause I have an outline. I know what I want to do now. I just haven't like committed to doing the thing. Right. So it's on the horizon though. I'm excited.
I think that's really the key to doing any sort of creative gig is just sitting down and doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, and sometimes you don't want to.
It's nice when you can feel inspired and when you can feel really positive about whatever it is you're working on. But a lot of times it's just a matter of like, well, I just have to do it.
Yeah.
You know, because if you sit around waiting for inspiration to strike, it may never happen.
Right. Yeah, I'm very guilty of that. Or I'll convince myself I have to wait for that spark or the muse. And usually that doesn't happen until I take a step like rereading something. Right. Or, I'm like, oh, right. Okay, now I want to do it instead of being like, I got to get my ass in the chair kind of thing.
Yeah. I don't know if there's an equivalent for you, but I know in the times in my life when, it's been a while, when I have been narrating a book and I have the spare time in the schedule to sometimes just be like, I'm not feeling it today. I'm just not going to do it today.
Yeah.
I'll work on other things, but I'm not feeling it. My contract with myself was always get 5 minutes done.
Yeah.
And if you get 5 minutes done and at the end of that 5 minutes, you still feel like, yeah, this just is not, it's not coming out of me today.
Yeah.
Then yeah, it's not a day. And you have the flexibility, then you can say, no, I won't do this today.
Yeah.
But most of the time when you get in there and you just start doing it, it's like, okay, yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah. Yeah. No, 100%. I've done, I don't think I have, I think having a contract's a good idea because I don't really give myself that wiggle room, but I've definitely realized it was a slog and I wasn't having fun. So I was like, okay, if I'm not enjoying it, my writing's going to suck. But usually when I actually sit down and start working on it, I'm like, oh, I'm having fun. Like this whole thing is fun.
That's the philosophy behind that. Cause it's like, if you just listen to your stupid brain, it will always tell you you're not not always, but a lot of times it's going to be like, no, it's not happening today.
Yeah.
Or even like for me, sometimes it's my body, it's my voice. It's, maybe I'm feeling a little under the weather and it's like, could I even get this done?
Yeah.
And instead of throwing in the towel, it's just go record 5 minutes, get like, I don't know, a page done or 200 words or whatever it would be, whatever the equivalent of 5 minutes of audio recording would be. Like, just do that much. And if at the end of it, you're like, oh yeah, no, there really is something blocking me mentally or physically from being successful at this.
Yeah.
Then give yourself the grace to walk away from it. But most of the time it's like, you just got to get past that dumb brain. That's like, you can't do it. And it's like, oh, actually.
Yeah, I can.
Watch.
Yeah,
watch
exactly.
Me.
Yeah.
So.
Brains are dumb. You'd think it would be the opposite, where it's like, we know we can do this. We've done it several times now. It's not hard. Just go do the thing. But it always just feels like terrible until you're actually doing it. And you're like, oh, this is fine. I don't know why I keep putting it off.
Several is optimistic.
Yeah.
It's like every other day.
Right.
Hearing those voices. Yeah.
What about you? How's your week going?
It's going well. I definitely have refound my productivity after last week's stumbles at the end of the week of opening the show and not concentrating at all and not, coming in over the weekend. And so I'm a couple days behind schedule. I will definitely have to work this weekend probably just to catch up at least a little bit and work some long days this week. But the nice thing is I have the freedom to do that because even though I do have shows happening and I like to go to the theater and be there to support the cast, I don't have to go in prepared. One.
Right.
And also the shows don't start until like 7:30. And I've been used to getting to the theater at 5:30. So that time between the end of my workday and the beginning of the theater day has been very short. And now it's like, there's several hours. If I end up working till 4:30, 5 o'clock, that's fine.
Yeah, for sure.
I can still go home. I can eat dinner. I can see my husband and dogs. And then I can still go to the theater and support the cast.
Yeah.
And then whether or not I want to stay to see the whole show, that's up to me. So.
Nice. Good.
So yeah, that's the environment I'm in now. And that only goes through this weekend. And then next week, it's like back to real life. No more commitments in the evenings.
Yeah.
Which is wild.
Yeah, right.
To think about after
so
doing
much
this
time
since the beginning of August.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I bet it'll be kind of bittersweet where it's like you'll be kind of happy to have the time back, but also miss it.
Yeah. I feel like the bittersweet moment was actually last week, like right before opening night. Because that was when it's like, oh, I'm done. It's now in their hands. There's really nothing I can do about it anymore. I have no control. And you're happy for that. You're happy for them to be getting the audience that they needed. By that point, they needed audience feedback. But it is sort of like, oh, well, I'm sort of out of this equation now. Yeah. Now I don't matter. So, and I know, I mean, again, they're for moral support and helping and making the cast feel great is all part of the job as well. But so that all happened last week. I feel like by the end of this week's run of shows, I'm going to be like, really, like, cause like yesterday and tonight, like it's really nice to know that like, oh, I don't have anywhere to go tonight.
Yeah. Right.
just get to go home. Just go home.
Yeah.
I don't have to like, when we're done recording here, I don't have to just stay here and pump out those episodes.
Right.
Because it doesn't pay for me to go all the way home and then come back, to this same block that the theater's on. Like that's been my routine for the last month and a half. It's like, we'll just stay. There's not enough time. Just stay here. Yeah. Edit the podcast and then go to the theater.
Right.
I'm going to leave.
Yeah. Right.
When we're done recording, I'm leaving.
Yeah, for sure. So me too.
Yeah.
We're ducking out of here.
Yeah. So that's, I do sort of look forward
to that. Like having your life back, basically.
Yeah. So
makes sense.
Exactly. And then just like work wise, it's another contemporary romance off the to be read list for me.
Nice.
My professional to be read list. And I actually get to start a fantasy series.
Yay.
Next.
Very nice.
The Twilight Mages series by Elliot Gray. I'm recording that for Podium. That's up next.
Excellent.
So yeah, I'll actually have some fantasy stuff to talk about, and I'm hoping we can invite Elliot on the podcast. And,
that'd be fun.
And hear all about the Twilight Mages series direct from the source.
Absolutely. That'd be really fun.
Yeah. Another thing we can start doing is having interviews.
Yes.
Like, I will have the time to do that again.
Yes, I'm excited about that. So I need to start bugging some people.
Yeah. And if you're one of those people who wants to be bugged, just bug us.
Yeah, for sure.
We love talking to sci-fi, fantasy, dystopian fiction authors.
Yeah.
Anywhere in the realm of speculative fiction and make it gay, we want to chat with you.
Absolutely.
So yeah, if we're not knocking on your door, knock on ours.
Yeah. We appreciate the assistance because we're busy and forgetful. So
right. Well, and to a certain degree, we're in the ecosystem, but we're also of the ecosystem.
Right.
And so sometimes that means our algorithms don't show us other people.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if that's true for you, but like,
oh yeah, no, I get in a bubble.
If the algorithm could stop showing me the books I've already recorded, as like, you might also like, and I was like, but
yeah, it's not helpful.
No, Amazon, my name is on that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it shows me my own books a lot. I'm like, I bet I'd like that.
I bet I'd love that. Thank
that
you.
lady's weird, but I'm into
I was
it.
like, and you're spending all of this time in the algorithm and showing me something I already bought. I was like, show me something I don't already know.
Right. Don't you want my money?
Yeah. And that is how we found a lot of authors who have come on the podcast was just like, Amazon recommended reads. It's like, well, that's a cool cover and that's a book I've never heard of. And there's a person I don't know. And then you literally just like look up their emails and cold email them and be like, hey, I have a podcast. Do you want to come on the podcast? So like, so yeah, if we haven't knocked on your door, no, it's probably just because we haven't been put in front of you.
Yes, exactly.
It's not that we've seen you and we've been like, no thanks.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's algorithms suck and bubbles happen. And there's so many friends we haven't met yet.
Exactly. Exactly. So yeah, coming up on Patreon, I think next week is going to be the first episode of Far From Neverland. And I'm going to see if I can pump another one out next week and maybe do a twofer in that week. But part of the prepping process that I was late to was some questions for the author. Yeah. And after getting their responses, I have a little bit more homework to do. Right. And so I was like, it's better not to just try to like jump in. Yeah. Because I have some character references that I need to go actually like consume. Yeah. And not just watch a 30-second clip of and be like, I got it. Yeah. So it's like, okay, I need to go actually like do some homework, and then I think I'll feel more comfortable jumping into the project. Yeah. Over this weekend maybe, or the end of this week, depending on how things go. But definitely we'll get something out early next week, and maybe even something then late next week to sort of make up for it. It's just that prep process revealed some things that I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. Well, damn. This requires more preparation. Exactly. So coming up, TBD, watch this space. It is definitely happening, and it will be coming to your ears in some way, shape, or form, probably starting next week. Yes. So yeah. And then also we have our Animorphs episode, which comes out on Wednesday. Next Wednesday will be book number 43, The Test. The Test. We just keep getting closer and closer to that final 54th book. What are we need to do something cool for that. Like maybe we'll have a little Animorph party or something. Yeah. Well, I feel like it's probably going to kill me to like finish this series. You know what I mean? Like after all of this time and then wrapping it up, I think I'm going to be a sad sack about it. So yeah, we'll see. And then we also released last week Shorelines and Surprises, the Baja Jackson short story. It is live. It's available now on our Patreon. Yep. So go join our Patreon and you can have that short story and the other short stories from the Relic universe. Two other ones that are hidden behind that paywall. They are available to you there. And also we're still getting Save the Vampire work in progress chapters. Another fantasy book that I will be recording the beginning of next month. In October? No. November, right? No, it's October. It's October. Oh, I think it's it's Twilight Mages, and then Steal the Key. Oh, okay. Yeah, because they said I think a November release date, so that makes sense. I can't remember what they said now. So that's fun. I look forward to finally reading that. Yeah, awesome. So yeah, that's coming up as well in the near future. So you can be way ahead of me on that series if you're reading the work in progress chapters that are coming out every Friday. And just a reminder, the final book in the Relic series, Gardens and Ghosts, is currently 50% off in our online store before we pull it at the 1-year anniversary. And then who knows how long it will take us to get it into other platforms. Yes. So I'm going to do my best, but this is the first time I've ever had to like mess with uploading an audiobook anywhere, so I expect me to be confused and cry a lot. Well, I can help. I know you can help. I do it.
I know, but
I do it all the time.
I'm also, it's a lot of me figuring things out and just life being very busy right now.
Right.
So, but I'm going to do my best.
Right. Yeah. So, but the point remains, even when you submit it, sometimes we have no idea how long it takes.
Yeah, there's that other
for it
part.
to actually hit the store or the platform. So, 50% off, it's still a really great deal. It's less than an Audible credit, and you could have it right now.
Yes.
So, yeah. So that's what's going on over at Patreon. We hope you'll consider joining us. And in addition to all of that, we now have that extra bonus episode every Monday or first day of the week morning.
Right.
Where we just chit chat about what's going on in our lives and the news and things that are on our mind.
Yeah.
In a way that is less professional and more personal than what we do on this podcast. If you can imagine such a thing.
Yes. Yeah.
The Friday episodes, more profesh than what you're getting on the Monday episodes.
Yes.
So,
agreed.
Yeah.
So this week, I figured we would talk a little bit about paid coaching and training opportunities, which ones we've tried and which ones we have avoided.
Yeah.
Indeed.
So what is it? I mean, what is the environment like for authors when it comes to like training opportunities or classes or coaching? There's
probably a ton more out there that I don't know about, but the ones that I've usually see are like conventions like Inkers Con or not Romance Con, romance author or romance writer or something. It's one of the big ones that I went to a couple years ago. But it's usually like
clearly it made a very big impact on your life.
Well, I remember how much I paid for it, but I don't remember the damn title. But it's a lot of multi-day like kind of things with, keynote speakers and things like that. I haven't gone to any in-person ones in years. But I've done a bunch of online ones, but it's usually like long conventions instead of just like one-off classes. At least those are the ones I always see. I'm sure there's probably other ones, but those are the ones I always see circulated in my bubbled algorithm, as we mentioned earlier.
Yeah. So I do occasionally see on social media people complaining about writing courses for authors. Yeah. For indie authors especially. Like it seems to be there is a cottage industry of people who want to teach a foolproof way to publish your indie book.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of that.
And just, a couple $1,000s and I'll walk you through everything you need to know in 6 easy courses or classes or whatever.
Right.
And I think there's always that. There's probably that in most industries.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's always those like very cringy, eye-rolly. Like if they said that they can help you write and like all the way through concept to publication for a set fee, they're just getting money out of you. Like that's bull. But yeah, that's everywhere. It's like blood in the water for sharks. As soon as they see you have author in the name, I get cold DMs all the time about classes for things or paid reviews or like my website's bad somehow. Like it's just everybody wants money.
Our websites all need work.
Oh yeah, there's
something
just
on
terrible.
the back end. The SEO is messed up. The code is terrible.
Yeah.
You'll never be found by Google ever unless somebody types in your name.
Yeah, unless they Google you and then ta-da. So
yeah. It's the world of coaching in general is pretty lascivious. So I'm sure we've talked about it on this podcast before, but there's a podcast I love. It's called The Dream.
Oh yeah.
They've done several seasons. One was about it's pyramid schemes, but what is it called?
MLMs.
MLMs, yes.
Yeah.
What did I say? What do they call themselves?
Yeah,
yes. Multi-level marketing, pyramid schemes. Another one on wellness.
Yeah.
And then this latest season was about coaching. The coaching industry.
Yeah.
Totally unregulated.
Yeah.
I mean, there are certainly many places who prey on future coaches in giving them certifications to become coaches so that they're paying to then charge other people for their expertise. And so in the narrator world, there's a lot of coaching.
Yeah.
We actually, if you want a really full conversation about this topic, we talked about it in the first episode of season 2 of the Narrator Roundtable, which is out now.
Sweet.
Where it's not just my perspective, but it's the perspective of other narrators as well. And so we have to kind of watch out for people who call themselves coaches.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about narrators or authors specifically. I'm talking about all of us in all of our industries.
Right, for sure.
Like it is not like going to see a doctor or like a licensed therapist.
Mhm.
Like there is no licensing board anywhere for coaching.
Right.
There are certifications, some the quality of which I'm sure vary greatly.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I have a friend who went through the life coach training program and had nothing but great things to say about it and is trying to get that business up and running. And I do believe there are people who can make that system work.
Mm-hmm.
I myself have gotten some professional coaching
Yeah.
From narrators who just had more experience than me.
Yeah.
You know, so there is, I think, a great deal of value that can be found in one-on-one coaching
Mm-hmm.
with someone who's in your profession who has more experience and who can speak to how you individually can improve. And I actually like that a lot.
I would actually love to have something like that. Like if I could, I don't know, somebody off the top of my head who would be like, teach me your ways. But yeah, somebody who's within the romance space, who like their prose is immaculate, their marketing's fantastic, just hanging out with me for like a couple hours every week or something. That would be amazing.
Oh, a couple hours every week would be very expensive.
Oh yeah, probably.
This is usually like an hour at a time.
Yeah.
You know? But the thing about coaching too is that it's not just about teach me your ways.
Mm-hmm.
It's also like, look at what I'm doing and specifically tell me, what am I doing well?
Yeah.
Where do I need to focus my attention and work and energy and investment?
Oh, cool.
Because if it's just like, show me what you do. And I think there are coaches that do that.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not a style that I like.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's just teach me what you do, you could also learn that in a group setting.
Yeah.
You could learn that from like a master class that they release online.
Right.
If it's just one direction.
Yeah.
But the nice thing to me about coaching versus a class is you're getting that online. You're getting that one-on-one attention.
Yeah.
From somebody who can comment on what you are actually doing.
Nice.
Already. You know?
Yeah.
So I've done performance coaching, I've done business coaching, I've done tech coaching.
Nice.
And I've had mostly very, very positive experiences across the board. I've also done like small studio classes where you do get some individual attention, but it's the conceit of the class is that every person gets some individual attention.
Gotcha.
So you get your like 20 minutes of focused attention on you and your reading. And then you observe everybody else going through that same process and you kind of learn through osmosis. I also like that system because sometimes it's nice not to have the pressure of like
it just
performing
being you.
on you and it's all on you. So like that's also really great. Some things I haven't tried because I just don't know if they would work for me are things that like a method or like a system.
Yeah.
You know, like you can sign up for this class and I'll teach you my system, or you can sign up for this course and I'll teach you my method. And it's like, I don't know that your method's going to work.
Right.
For me.
I think maybe that's why I haven't had a lot of success because I've never had a one-on like a coaching where it's like somebody diving into what I already do and helping me elevate. It's more of going and listening to very successful people tell their story and then trying to pick what relates to me. And usually it doesn't because, you know, there's definitely gems. I'm not saying that all of them are bad. I've gone to classes and been like, oh, that's really helpful and gives me ideas for usually marketing thing, not so much craft. But yeah, for the most part, there's always elements to the story where I'm like, yeah, well, I don't have a spouse who's very wealthy and I have to still work full time. So I don't know. I can't do that, you know? So.
And I think that's variety is important too there because you can glean pieces that apply to you if you go to a lot of different like professional improvement or educational settings. But the investment of that just gets to be so much if you're going for the little nuggets that actually work for you.
Exactly.
Versus somebody who's like their whole point of them is you are paying them to be honest with you about how you can be better, and I mean, I'm very lucky that this has not happened to me, but I bet it sometimes happens.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, if they really don't think you have what it takes.
Oh God, that would be heartbreaking. You know, can you imagine? Holy shit.
I mean, I think it's less likely in an author situation. And everybody can improve, or at the very least to say like, you should not be putting yourself out there for professional work right now, like in the narrator space.
Yeah.
Like you are not ready to have that kind of relationship with authors and publishers. If you put yourself out there, you will have a bad first impression. Here's what you need to work on before you can start submitting yourself for projects again.
Gotcha.
I think that would be part of the coaching relationship too, is if you truly believe like, oh, you are not ready.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Well, and I hope,
here's what you must work on.
Exactly. Like having that, like, you're not ready yet, but here's how you can get to that point. Takes a good coach to recognize that and not let you just show your full ass. You know what I mean? Like go out there and just fail. So
yeah, I just think that personal touch is important, and it's worth the investment,
Yeah.
It's worth paying somebody directly. And it is usually more like per hour than the classes when you're with other people, but that's the point.
Yeah, exactly.
Is you're getting the individual attention.
Right. Helping your like specific areas that you need help on and not just going to huge classroom settings and being like, well, I can't do that. Or I think one of the things I ran into a lot when I was taking those multi-day classes is going to romance specific ones. I now have a hard rule that unless it is a queer specific romance class, fuck it. You know what I mean? Like it's just because there's so many things that just don't translate marketing wise.
Yeah.
That I just wasted my money and like my time. So I haven't. I think the last class that I bought that I was like, this is badass was the Only James Patreon one. That was really good, but that one was very specific to author Patreons with multiple tiers. And I was like, okay, well, that's not what I'm doing right now. But now I have idea, like if I ever do my own, like later down the road, I know how to maybe start one a little bit stronger. But I was like, okay, no, this is actually helpful. And like she had raw data. Here are the numbers, like that kind of stuff. But yeah, I gave up on author classes. I think last year. I think the last time I looked into a class and it was like $1,000 for like a 3-day class. I didn't know any of the authors who were speaking. I was like, why am I doing this? This is just, I'm going to be able to find a couple things that are helpful. And then the rest of it, I'm going to be like, okay.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and I think that is up to the person who's offering the training to be specific about what you will walk away from the experience having gained.
Right.
And if they can't do that in their promotion of the class and you're looking at the $1,000 and the list of things that they're going to do.
Yeah.
And you can't very clearly say like, this will be a good return on investment because of what you're going to give me. Then you shouldn't give them your money on the hope that the program they have for you will be applicable and will be quality. Like they have to tell you very specifically, this is what we're working on. This will be the goal for every person who comes to this. By the end of this program, you will have learned XYZ or been exposed to XYZ or have one-on-one time with this person and that person.
Yeah.
Like they have to outline the value. It can't simply be like, yeah, come on. We're going to learn about romance writing. Well, what does that mean? Yeah. We're going to learn about audiobook narration. What does that mean?
Right. Yeah. Well, and
what are we learning?
Yeah, exactly.
What specifically?
Yeah. Or it's just very niche, very tailored to like very specific things. I'm like, well, doesn't apply to me. I'm not that.
Right.
So it sucks.
And I would imagine they would also want the people for whom it applies.
Right. Yeah.
Like, get the right people in the door so they feel like they're getting value for the money that you are asking them for.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you can make it even better for next year.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it makes sense.
So yeah, I would say anybody who's looking for coaching, if you are in the indie author or narrator space, like buyer beware. Take a look at how much you're spending. If your gut tells you that's too much money, it probably is.
It probably is.
For where you are at right now. Like there are coaching opportunities that I have done that I would never have done in my first couple years because it was like, oh, that would have been a lot of money back then. Yeah. But once I was a full-time narrator and I was looking at it as an investment and I could think of like this coaching session is going to cost me 1 finished hour of audio. Like, okay, that seems like a lot, but like, is it worth doing that 1 hour of audio to learn as much as I can from this person? Yeah. In the hour or 2 hours I get with them, So, and that I think is another important thing is like, there's upfront investment whenever you're trying to get into any industry or craft. Yeah. But at a certain point, if the craft is not paying for the continuing education.
Yeah. Yeah. That's That's hard.
Press pause.
Yeah,
Because like
exactly.
it shouldn't, whatever we're doing, authoring, narrating, it shouldn't be a money hole.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Like it shouldn't be just throwing good money after bad and having experience after experience that's never paying for itself.
Right.
So yeah, if that's, to me, it's just another indication of whether the coaching or the training that you're getting is quality. Is like, you should be able to, after a while, justify the expense of the training.
Yeah.
Because of what you're getting paid to do the thing they're training you for.
Right. Exactly.
So, and then there's always going to be things that are just too expensive.
Oh yeah. I mean, I would love to be able to just say I can afford to have whoever like sit down with me and do this coaching session. But if their rates, what they need to charge for their time is out of my reach, then hey man,
Right.
it is what it is.
Right.
Like I don't have that kind of money. So.
And it's like, sometimes it will involve travel.
Right.
And if you have to worry about a plane ticket and lodging in addition to the cost of the course, and it's somewhere not cheap
Yeah.
to hang out. Like there's a course I would love to go to, but it takes place in Palm Springs. And like to date, I have not looked at that course and been like, yes, it's worth the investment of flying to and staying in Palm Springs, plus paying for this course.
Oof. Yeah. It's too much.
It's just too much for where I'm at. You know?
Maybe one day.
Maybe one day.
Yeah.
Would love for that to happen. Maybe I'll win the lottery.
Yeah. That's really expensive then. Yeah.
Maybe the podcast will take off.
Yeah, there you go.
And our Patreon will explode, and then there will be more disposable income. But right now it's like, no, I'm working to live.
Right.
I'm recording to have a salary, and I have to pick and choose which things I can give my time and energy and money to.
Exactly.
So yeah, but yeah, definitely buyer beware. Because there are also people out there who are just looking to take advantage of folks.
Oh yeah.
Sadly.
Yeah, it's really sad.
They are out there. So you have to watch out for those folks too. Anybody guaranteeing success after like 3 classes, probably a scam.
Yeah, don't believe it. I think good rule is if it sounds too good to be true, it is.
Yeah.
Like if they're promising that you're going to make $1 million, they're lying. They're lying to you. It's not happening.
No.
Otherwise, they'd have $1 million.
Right. And if they're pointing to somebody as like their example of here's somebody who's hugely successful who went through our program, take the time to reach out to that person.
Yep.
9 times out of 10, they'll probably respond to you if you're asking about somebody that coached them or taught them.
Yeah.
And maybe you'll find out, the advice they gave me was invaluable. I wouldn't be where I was without them. And you can feel a little bit better about giving that person the money.
Right.
Or, as sometimes happens, you can reach out to that person. And my friend Andre told this story in our podcast about this. Like somebody was saying like their student got nominated for an Audi when he was nominated for an Audi.
Yeah.
And he's like, I went to one like 30-minute like introductory
Oh my
free
God.
seminar. Like that the whole point of the seminar was to get him to buy the course, and he never did. And then this person was talking about him being like one of their students and succeeding wildly. And it's like,
oh no.
reach out to those people, get real, honest feedback and references.
Yeah. Worth the time.
Yeah.
That's scary. Because I guess they can
Because you never know
technically
who's
claim.
using your name out there as somebody who's like, oh, this person was, you know, because like if any one of the coaches that I've gone to and I only did one session because like it just didn't click, they were suddenly like, oh, this is somebody I worked with, and therefore you should. I would come out publicly and be like, no,
Yeah, don't.
like we met one time and it wasn't helpful to me, so
Yeah. You could take my name off your list.
please don't advertise using my name. If I want to advertise for you, I will. But
Right.
yeah,
It's a bold move.
Take those endorsements with a grain of salt and just do your research. So
For sure.
So yeah. Well, that's what's going on in the world of training for authors and narrators.
Indeed.
Many of us who are trying to just still like kick the door in to find like fame and success.
Yeah.
And there's so many of us.
There really
So
is.
many of us. So many of us. So, yeah, we will be back in your feeds next week, Friday. If you are a Patreon member, we'll be back in your feeds Monday morning when we do our early shift episode. And you can find us anytime on social media. search Hoof and Fang Podcast. You can also go to hoofandfangpodcast.com where you can link to any of our social media, and you can also link to our Patreon, where we would love to have you as a member.
Indeed.
So that's it for us this week. We will talk to you next week.
See you.